Welcome to the Endurance Balance. I'm Coach J.W. McKenna. Joining me are Coach Alicia Phillips and Coach Ann Sharkey. Together, we break down the 80-20 philosophy through the lens of real life. Our goal is simple, to help you fit the training into the chaos. Let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to the Endurance Balance. I'm Coach J.W. Joining me, of course, is Coach Ann and Coach Alicia. Hi, everybody. As you know, we spend hours obsessing over our split times, wattages, but we often ignore what we often as coaches refer to as the engine, right? You've probably heard us say fuel the engine, feed the engine, take care of the engine. Today we're handing the mic over to Coach Ann and Coach Alicia for the most part, and we're going to talk nutrition. Now, we're not talking about the kale salads and, counting macros and everything else. We're going to be talking a little different. Things like cortisol, right? Is it actually the enemy, right? Like, because cortisol does get such a bad name. So we're going to touch on that one. Vitamin D is another one. It's such an easy training enhancement, if you want to call it, that we can take. And yet we overlook it. We're going to talk about the vitamin D, the cortisol, and we're also going to talk iron, right? And so iron is often a hotbed of discussion as well. And to tie it all together, I think we're going to talk about blood work, right? So knowing how to get what these levels are, whether you're deficient or over or right in the sweet spot, really, it's going to be done through blood work, and we're going to share some of our stories about what it's like trying to get blood work done through your regular physician as an endurance athlete. So we're gonna kick things off here pretty quick. So we're gonna check in. Basically, I think we'll call this segment the training logs. It's our, the last 2 weeks. Our wins are good learning opportunities that we maybe have had with clients or with ourselves. And I'll start off with Alicia.
Yeah. So, we're going to go with this one. So one of my athletes, I was checking in with her and I was seeing all the greens and training peaks. She was crushing her workouts. And then the fun thing about data, right? I'm very data driven but it doesn't say everything, but this is one of those things that I was able to catch. So, sometimes people like to track their HRV, their resting heart rate. Are they balanced? So one of the things that was that kind of jumped out at me, it wasn't just 1 or 2 days, it was 6, 7 days in a row. She was only sleeping about 5 to 6 hours of sleep. 5 to 6 hours of sleep per night. And when I think of sleep, to me, that's like free fitness. Okay. So we work really hard in fitness, in our exercises, in our workouts. But if we don't recover from those workouts, if we don't absorb the fitness, is what I call it, through nutrition, through sleep, through active recovery, you're just putting yourself down either into an overtraining motion. You're going to feel like fatigued. The workout's just not going to feel great, or you're going to fail the next day. So we had to have kind of one of those tough love. I always say I'm one of those coaches. I'm not like the Jillian Michaels. I'm not going to, you suck, you're terrible, you need to work harder. Like, I'm more the friendly. Like, my biggest thing is I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, you're amazing, you're positive. I'm very much that positive coach, but sometimes we just need to be told, like, this is a weakness, we got to work on this. And sleep is free, right? But it's especially this time of season, this time of year, I'm guilty of it, either just staying up a little extra late, maybe having like a glass of wine or scrolling, all the things. Even from last week's podcast, I caught myself. I'm like, it's 10:45. I'm missing out on my window of sleep. So yeah, that was my kind of like lesson of, again, just being mindful, making a point of it to check in and lock in that free fitness. Okay. Is our sleep. And
Awesome. Coach Ann?
So I'm going to piggyback on that sleep just a little bit. I have been more aware of my personal sleep too. I have a really bad habit, not really a habit, but my husband gets up earlier than I do. So as soon as he's up, the whole house is up and the dogs are up and then I'm up and then my mind starts kicking off of 1,000 things that I have to do. So I have been conscious the last probably month or so about making myself stay in bed and going back to sleep if possible, if nothing else, just staying in bed and getting that extra, like it's made a huge difference. Even like 30 minutes here and there has really made a huge difference for me personally. So I'm also one of those that's like 7 hours, I'm good. But the reality is I feel much better at closer to 8, absorbing that fitness if I can. So mine, little athlete win. I have an athlete that I've been working with for, oh my gosh, it's been several years, probably 6, 7 years. Um, she has a big goal this year to do an Ironman. It's a big, scary goal. She's got a crazy, like 3 kids, working full time, busy schedule. She's actually, I'm super excited because she's coming to Ironman Jacksonville. So I'm gonna get a chance to be there. Anyway, we have been really working on the base, like just getting things kind of solidified, creating the habits, right? Getting everything on the calendar, getting things, the routine created, not just for her, but also for the family, because that's super important. So we've been working hard on, she's had some knee surgery that was really, really it was significant. So I've been trying to build her run for her because she's got to have that base before we kick off Ironman training. She just finished a build, finished the plan that I had set together, and she told me that at the end of her 2-hour run last week, she cried because she felt so good. I was like, oh, who cried? I mean, I've never cried at the end of a 2-hour run. I mean, I have, but at the other side, I'm like, not because I felt great, but she just she listens. She just does the work. And she's like, I felt so good. So mentally, I've given her the next 2 weeks of just you know what to do. Enjoy it before we go deep into the structure of Ironman training. So, yeah, for me, that like as a coach and for my athlete, that was a huge win that she just felt so good that she celebrated with a little cry.
That's
So
awesome.
good
That's excellent.
times.
I can't
Yeah,
make my screen do the happy
yeah.
clap.
You can do the thumbs up though.
There you go.
GW, how about you?
Yeah, I was thinking about this one today, and I'm going to use my daughter Runa. So she's 9 years old. For those of you that don't know her, so at 9 years old, her and her mom Jess decided. Well, they run. I mean, my kids run ultras, like kid version ultras, right? So like we're only talking 3 to 7K type stuff, right?
Right, real quick. What age did they start doing this?
So Runa has been doing this. I want to say 3, maybe 4 years now. She's been running the kids' versions of these races,
So
and
6
Iric
years
is my
old.
son, so he's 7, and 6, and he's probably been doing about a year and a half, kind of less. So I say year or 2 less than Runa has.
So cool.
He's fast. It's usually boys versus girls, and he kind of beats most of all of us. But what it is and one of the promoters that I work with is Sinister Sports, and they do this every Christmas, or they have for the last 5 years. Is an event called the Advent Run Streak, and so they start on December 1st, and every day they have to log a minimum of 2 kilometers to the 24th. And there's some daily prizes and all that kind of fun stuff. And so Jess and Runa decided that they're kind of going to do this as a mother-daughter, nice bonding, yelling, parenting type thing. But go get your run done. I was noticing today the stats, the placing stats came out, right? And so again, remember she's 9. There's people from all over the world that are running. It's a really an awesome event. And
what is the temperature outside that she's running in?
Today I think it was 5. We've been really cool. Like all that snow that we had like 2 weeks ago is gone. I don't know. Like it was, I don't know, 12 degrees yesterday or something like that. So it was something crazy. I don't know. It's like make up your mind. But Um, she's running minimum of 2 kilometers a day, and she's about the middle of the pack within this event. Like, we never went in with her expecting her to win or anything, but what the trigger, the thought that triggered with me was, we've all been there as coaches where an athlete said, I had to skip my run today. I'm like, okay, like, why'd you skip your run? I didn't have enough time. Right. Like, it's a long run on a Saturday. My athletes have all heard me. I'm sure you two have heard me say this. It's a 2 or 4 hour long run, whatever it is, on a Saturday. And an athlete will come back and say, I didn't have time. And it's like, well, how much did you do? Well, I didn't do any. And it's like, well, how much time did you have that you could have done? Oh, maybe 2 hours. But I didn't have the full 4 hours to do the run. And it's like, well, why didn't you do the 4 hours? And they go, well, I don't think it would have mattered. And it's like, yes, absolutely it matters. If we prescribe you a 4-hour run, but if you only have 2 hours, every little bit adds up. And I kind of come back to Runa, where she's only doing 2, 3, maybe 4 kilometers a day. But every little bit of the mileage that she's doing is adding up. And now she's in the middle of the pack, and she's ecstatic about that, right? Like, it's awesome for her. And so it's all about the little bits keep adding up, and especially with fitness, right? I mean, we've all heard it. Just get out there and just do that little bit, right? I only have 10 minutes. Fine. Go out for a 10-minute power walk even, or something. Every little bit will add up into your fitness, especially now during, what we call this base season. It's not really the off season, because we need to work on a lot of, our limiters, or building up that foundational fitness, and things like that are going to do it. So that's kind of really what my kind of observation, I guess, if you want to call it, as a win. It's a win for Runa, but it's more of an observation for me, that a reminder that, yes, I keep telling athletes, do what you can, but it will add up. And she's feeling great. Right. And so it's awesome. So
I love
yeah,
that.
that's the wins. Before we move on, because we're gonna get into the the nutrition stuff and everything here. But I think when we did our introduction, last week, we kind of overlooked how the three of us met. Right. And probably not many of our listeners, or even our athletes that now know about each of us, know how we actually met. So I'll turn it over to the two of you, because you tell the story so much better, about how we met, where we met, and kind of how we got to where we are today.
Do you want
And
me
do
to
you
take
wanna
that,
start?
Alicia? Sure. So we all are 80/20 endurance certified coaches. I joined 80/20 as one of the core coaches back in June of 23. So took the certification course, and then kind of jumped on board as part of the main coaches, the core coaches. Started doing some consults, things like that. Worked on, I don't know, a couple of good key things for platinum athletes with 80/20. And then you both also joined 80/20 about the same time. Is that right, Alicia? A couple months later, maybe?
Yeah, I believe I joined like April, May of
Okay.
23.
Yep.
I was more on the cycling side of things, so working with velocity, and then I kind of came in through helping out with the platinum athletes, or the consultations, I guess that would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Alicia and I both had done some of the velocity cycling at home workouts, where we coached through some indoor riding things. And then JW, when did you join?
Probably around that time, if not shortly
Yeah.
after, I believe, and kind of along the same lines. It was a request to get in to do a platinum coaching with an athlete for triathlon. And then, yeah, just some more of the little side projects, I think, type stuff, where we got to do those new athlete consults. I'm still going strong with them. I'm not sure. I think you two said they died off a little bit for yourselves, but so still doing some of those, and just representing the 80/20 endurance, and helping them, with any of those new athletes that come on with some of those questions. That's really I did a little bit with velocity on the run side. Please don't go watch it. It's bad. It's me just trying everything out. I didn't think it was going to actually be published and up there forever, but it is. So, oh well. But and then yeah, it's that's kind of about where I came in.
Yeah. And then
I'm going to jump in real quick. I just kind of want to put this. So right here, we have 3 all-star coaches. Again, I'm more on the half marathon running side. I also do some Ironman. JW is our ultra guy, like anything along course, Ironman, running, trails. And then Anne is our menopause, Ironman, triathlete coach. If any of you guys are listening to this and you're like, I have been wanting to speak to a coach, or I have a question, please reach out, like leave a comment, message us, or reach out on our Instagram. At Endurance Balance is our Instagram handle.
Yeah.
And this is your chance to ask those questions for free. If you wanted to do a consult with us, we do offer that as well, but it is going to cost you. So take advantage of this moment now. Okay. Just wanted to plug that in.
No, absolutely. Good little plug there. But back in, so we all started about the same time frame, right? Like April, May, June-ish of 23. And then in February of 2024, we all met up in person for the first time in St. George, Utah. So kind of home base for 80/20. We had the honor of going out there for, I think it was 3 days-ish, kind of a long weekend, President's Day weekend, I think. And got to spend some time with Matt and David and Jim Vance, and then ourselves. Layla was with us at that time. Couple other folks. But we really had a good time. It was like we all had known each other all this, I mean, for years and years. Everybody just meshed really well. And then when we left there, I mean, I was definitely sad after that weekend because I had such a good time. And then moving forward, we've just connected through 80/20, like bouncing ideas off of each other with some athlete questions, things like that we have. And then the 3 of us came up with this idea only about a month ago, maybe. And we just hit the ground running. So very like-minded, a lot of experience between the 3 of us, and just really good resources for if we need to bounce anything off of each other. We've got each other to kind of chat things through. Coaches need coaches also.
Yeah. Well, and just something to bounce ideas off of. Like we talked so much in Utah, in St. George, right? And we even, I think we even went out and did David take us on the course, the triathlon course, the run course, bike course or something, I think. And it was just like, I don't even want to drive this, let alone like run it or bike it. Holy, I remember that. It was crazy. So yeah, that's
yeah, I was gonna say we had a boys and a girls Airbnb, like separate condos, and I know the girls. I don't know what the boys did, but I know the girls. We all sat in the hot tub until, I don't know, midnight, 1 a.m. just chatting and talking through things. So yeah, good time. I miss it. I'd love to go do it again.
Yeah, no, I think the guy's house was laptops and sleep. pretty quick to sleep. Cool. So that's kind of how we met and who we are. And absolutely, Alicia, it's, if even just drop some of those questions in there, we would love to answer some on the show if you have some. I know one of the things when we get to iron, a friend of mine, she had asked, hey, I hope you guys are going to talk iron if you say you're talking nutrition on your next show, because I know so little about it, or not even necessarily so little about it, but I would just like to know more. Right. And so we're definitely here. I won't proclaim to, be the sharpest knife in the drawer on everything. I will certainly do a lot of my research, and I do get into like the geeky data, some of it. So maybe a little bit more than your average bear. But if you've got a question, please drop them in there or let the 3 of us know. And having said that, we can move into, when we say nutrition for an endurance athlete, I think we all can agree it is quite different than regular nutrition for, the normal population, if we want to call it, right? Outside of endurance sports, or any kind of, high intensity training athlete. And so, you know, it's not necessarily about weight loss. Like if I have athletes that come up and say, I want to do 100-miler, but right up there with finishing the race is losing 20 pounds. I'm probably going to say, we're not a good fit, right? You will naturally lose some weight through training. You have to, but you may not lose weight on the scale. I can't remember if we talked about this last week or not, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose numbers on the scale, because you're going to be building muscle. You're going to be increasing those cross-sectional muscle fibers, as we call it. And, you're going to be having the short muscles getting bigger and then building up the endurance muscles and everything else. So I'm going to turn it over to the two of you, as far as, what do you want to talk about for nutrition? Like, what do you want to say about nutrition when you talk to your athletes? And then, segue that definitely into cortisol and stress. I mean, I guess we can say that nutrition stresses a lot of us out, right? Like, what am I eating? How much am I going to be eating? When should I eat it? They say eat before bed, but don't eat before bed. Well, there's so many things. It can be quite confusing. So I'll turn it over to two of you. And what are your thoughts on nutrition, what it is to the endurance athlete, and then kind of segue into definitely the cortisol and some of those vitamins that we were talking about. Alicia?
All right, I'll go ahead. I'm going to come at this one from a personal. I struggle with my iron, so if that is you, welcome. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to the club.
Support group.
I do want to preface, I'm not a nutritionist. I do have, my precision nutrition certification. I do have a minor in exercise science and nutrition. However, I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a registered dietitian. So with that, this comes from just personal experience. But one of my things, especially as a coach, I am constantly, and I always leave this open-ended, but if my athletes are getting blood work and they want to share it with me, I'm always open for it. So my number one thing is get your blood work. Get your blood work, but you got to be specific. You can't just, they're not going to just give you your ferritin levels. You have to specifically ask for it. Now, for me, I have been anemic my entire life. I remember being 16 and I went to go donate blood, and that little droplet that shows that you have iron, it would never fall. And so I was never able to donate blood. I had no idea that I guess I knew I was anemic, but I didn't know that I had low ferritin, or that equals having low energy levels. So Anne, do you want to tell us the symptoms what low iron feels like? Or
Yeah, it's right. Everybody's different. It's one of those things, like it can mimic, fatigue, but then that's really hard too, because we're like, well, we're endurance athletes. We're tired. We're older. We're tired. The kid, so there are a lot of things like that the symptoms can mimic a lot of other life issues or challenges. It can be, if you're cold, like if you're having a hard time, again, that's hard at this time of year, because we're all most of us are cold all the time. I will tell you this morning, JW was talking about the temperature, and I'm going to go off topic a little bit, but this morning I was slightly crabby because it was 43 degrees and I had to wear tights to run because the sun wasn't up yet. So I can't relate. I've run in those temperatures, but I don't miss it by any means. But low iron in general just can be the fatigue, the feeling cold, just not having, like, missing that gear, if that makes sense. So
yeah, so I always say, like, if you feel like you're plateauing, your workouts feel harder than they should be, you kind of got that, like, you're just tired, even though you've had good sleep and you're rested and you're recovered. If your legs feel heavy, like bricks when you go out running, you need longer recovery between sessions. You're just feeling drained. If you ever done a run and you just want to, like, lay on the couch afterwards, now that might not be just iron. But again, they all kind of intertwine a little bit. a shortness of breath disproportionate to your pace. So if you're on an easy run and your heart rate is just elevated during your easy run, again, this can mock other issues as well, but just also, again, that feeling like you can't get enough air, low motivation, anxiety for your workouts. Other things can be pale skin, brittle nails, restless legs. Okay, that was always me. I used to always have that restless leg syndrome. So again, signs that are common and very much common more so in the females, just because we have menstrual cycles. So extreme fatigue around your period. And if you are heavier that time of month, that might be kind of something that it could be a red flag.
I can just jump on that one for a second. It's and I think a lot
you
of
want to tell us about your menstrual period?
Yeah. A lot of athletes may not understand the correlation of why the iron or that feeling, or they lose iron during is basically, it's like you said, it's that cycle, it's the period, the flow. It's the hemoglobin, right? So the hemoglobin is what carries the iron, and at the end of the day, the ferritin is what stores it. So if you are losing a lot of blood, you're losing a lot of iron with that blood because it's being carried in there. So even if you're taking iron pills, you still may not be getting enough, right? Just because of that flow and at that time, right? So I just thought I'd throw that, like the kind of the geeky part in there. It's like my note basically says, think of the hemoglobin as it's carrying the oxygen, it's carrying that ability to take that iron to where it needs to go, and then the ferritin is the protein that stores it really at the end of the day, as well when it's in there. So if you can have, and Alicia, you said this at the beginning before we went on air, is that you can have these, and we're going to keep referring back to blood work, right? Like there's 32 markers at least, or 52 markers for the average endurance athlete to get for blood work. I can't remember what it is. I know it's a big list.
Yeah, I actually have an email that I send all my athletes. Like, when you're going to get your checkup, just give them this, and we can put that in the notes as well. Okay. But a big thing is asking for ferritin. So for me personally, my iron levels were actually in the green. They didn't jump out, but it was my ferritin levels. They were 8. So anything under 15 means that you have an iron deficiency. Our goal is to get over 50. I mean, optimally, you want to be like 80. Okay. 40 to 50 is normal, but 8 is like, is definitely screaming for help. So, and then the other caveat is that you can't just take an iron pill and it's going to be okay. It's something that takes months, like 3+ months, to just elevate ever so slightly. And when we run, just by simply every time our foot hits the ground, that foot strike we're losing red blood cells, which is then how we're losing it. So yeah, I will say, tips to improve is getting on an iron supplement. Do you guys want to jump in on this one? When do we take the iron supplement? Should we supplement it with? What do we stay away from? Obviously,
I can jump on that one, because I found this very interesting when I was just doing a little prep on this one. The best to take it is with your vitamin C. So if you are supplementing, let's say with maybe a multivitamin, you got some vitamin C in there, take it at the same time as that. Otherwise, maybe your morning orange juice, right? That will help take the iron and get it to where it needs to go. Things you want to avoid. Some people may not like us after this, but caffeine. With that morning coffee, if you pop an iron pill, or you're taking, your prescribed iron pills, and then you're having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, it will block absorption of the iron, right? So we want to try to avoid that. So then the other one too that we would like to try to avoid, which of course with breakfast, calcium. right? So dairy products, potentially, if you're putting anything in your coffees, if you're having a bowl of cereal or granola, whatever it might be in the morning, what you take it with, those are potentially things that you want to think of. So for many of us, me included, I really like my morning coffee. So if you are on iron supplements and your physician and or nutritionist hasn't told you, maybe just alter the time of day that you take it. Would you agree?
Agreed. Definitely. I remember I was on iron supplements. I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had to take it for quite a while. But right after having kids, that's usually when they definitely put you on some iron supplements. And I would take mine at night. Just because I wanted to, if I hadn't had any ill side effects, because sometimes it can be like when you're trying to raise those levels up, it can be a little icky. But I always just took it at night. I could sleep through any time that I didn't feel great with it. Um, on the blood work side in general too, though, is I didn't mean to, are we good with iron so far? Do we want to jump to?
I think so. And I think, Alicia, you just mentioned, I'll just mention it in case you didn't, is that your blood work can come back with great levels of, like you say, iron or even hemoglobin, and you can still be short or, void of the ferritin, right? So it's very important. And again, when we get near the end, we'll talk a little bit about some experiences or maybe how to ask your physician to get these blood work done. But it's one of those ones where you can have one without the other and you might not feel it.
Yeah. So I guess how to combat iron deficiency: red meat. Okay. Liver. I've actually been testing this with taking some pills, like liver pills. So it's like freeze dried. So, I mean, I feel like as a kid, maybe, did you guys ever have liver and onions as like a meal?
Yeah.
They tried.
Yes.
They tried.
I feel like that doesn't even exist anymore. So, but organs are apparently have a lot of iron in them. Dark meat, poultry, shellfish, so like clams. If you're not, if you don't eat meat, plant sources will come from lentils, beans, chickpeas, tofu, spinach, fortified cereals at the minimum. But they aren't absorbed as much. So again, the number one thing though, beyond just doing that, is just eat enough total calories. Okay. Stay away from fasted cardio and include carbs in your long and hard runs.
Cool.
And get your get your blood work. Okay. Don't just start doing this because we're like talking about it. I'm going to do it now because you don't want to. Iron is one of those things you can like take too much. Like it's right? It's like you can, I don't want to say overdose, but get your blood work and get tested.
Yeah, it's not quite like the vitamin D, if that's the next one you're segueing into, Anne, or not. But, vitamin D is one of the ones that it's very hard to overdose on. But, Anne.
Yeah, so this one actually came back and really surprised me. I just had blood work done a couple weeks ago, and I don't know, there was a long laundry list of things that they looked at. Vitamin D, I was like, I'm good. I live in Florida. Like, I'm out in it all the time. I'm outside. I'm running outside. We go to the beach, a couple times a month. Never ever thought that I was low. And when I got my blood results back, sure enough, like I don't remember the exact number, but I was low enough that I was put onto a prescription dosage, basically. So I am now currently taking 50,000 IUs once a week for 12 weeks, doing like a big load, prescribed load, and then I can go to the over-the-counter vitamin D, where I can hopefully maintain. So we'll retest before I go into that to make sure that the levels are accurate, are good enough. But
sorry, Anne, how much did you say you were prescribed?
So I was prescribed 50,000 IUs.
Okay, and so the average, so if you go to Costco and you get your vitamin D3, it'll tell you 1,000 per day. Right. On average for most people. So just to put it in perspective, that to take 50,000 to kind of top up the stores again. That's a lot.
It's a lot. And over 12 weeks, like that's a
Mhm.
lot. So there are a lot of crazy low vitamin D symptoms too. Things that people, again, just attribute to life. One of them is, it's, it can be, you can struggle with losing weight because of vitamin D. Like there's so many crazy ties in with all the vitamins and minerals. Um, that it just, once you start to put the pieces together, and of course it's not the only piece to the puzzle, there are many other ones that you've got, like iron. We're going to talk about cortisol here in a little bit too. There are a lot of pieces to the puzzle that have to fit together just right, and if one thing is off balance, it just can throw the whole system out of whack.
Yeah,
So
in fact, vitamin D functions more like a hormone than a vitamin.
right,
Mhm.
absolutely. And so for me, I eat pretty well. You were talking earlier about some fortified cereals and things like that. I saw something this week or last week that really kind of hit home, and they're like, "Don't eat anything with a barcode." And I was like, that's kind of eye-opening, right? Like it's very hard, and if you can do it, but if you live that life and you're able to sustain it and just keep up with, it's a lot of meal prep, that's a lot of grocery shopping, because our foods just don't last as long as they used to. Well, actually, I take that back. They do last longer because there's so much stuff put in them. But um, so not eating anything with a barcode is a good way. Shopping the perimeter of the store, that's kind of a little trick that has always kind of been talked about out there. But throwing spinach into your smoothie in the morning, you're not going to taste it. It might turn a funny color. It will turn a great color of green, but adding little things like that for helping with your iron, just boosting up the vitamins and minerals that you need. um, Back to vitamin D, though, it's very eye-opening that I live in a place where I'm in the sunshine and it's sunny. I mean, if we have an overcast day, I I feel like it's a snow day, like what we had up in the Midwest. It's just very unusual. So I think of my athletes in the Midwest. I think of my athletes even, on the West Coast. My husband's from Seattle, so he's like, I know everybody there has some vitamin deficiencies for vitamin D, but it's definitely worth getting looked at. I think vitamin D is a tricky one that not a lot of doctors, a lot of insurance companies will automatically cover it. So you do, in my experience, I have had to really push to have it added to the test, and I don't know what that's all about. But if
Well, because they can't like write a prescription and make money off of it.
well, there's that.
That could be
Yes.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, the vitamin D. I mean, the sunshine in the bottle really is kind of
Mm.
what I was always told of what it is. And here in Canada, eh, it's
Hey,
cold. The days are long or short, depending on the time of the year, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But really, I'd say probably in the last 10 or so years, I've really lived under the knowledge of we really just won't get enough in our foods, right? Like it's essential. We need it. We need to supplement it because it is. You're right, Alicia. It's a hormone precursor, and if we just don't have enough, there are so many different side effects, and it's what's going on. And like I said, the 1,000 IU's or international unit is about what most will prescribe. We here well, this kind of goes off the pharmacists and the physicians and whatnot, or dietitians as well. Um, 4, so 4,000 minimum in the wintertime. Kids will do 2,000, and then our kids will do 1,000. We'll do 2,000 in the summertime even, and we're out in the sun a lot, right? And so they're still saying you should have that much supplemented into your daily routine, right? It's fat soluble, right?
Okay.
So just keep that in mind when we're taking maybe our vitamin D pills. We're telling you when not to and when to take iron. With this one here, take those IU's, let's say, with an egg or avocado or something, right? So have it with some stuff that has some really good protein in it. So because it is fat soluble, and so we want to be able to get it to where we need to do it. Now, I'll turn it back over to you in a second, but we talked about this last week. My physician had told me, if you're not good at taking pills daily, just take them all on a Saturday, right? So if I'm taking, 2 a day, he's telling me every Saturday, just go ahead and take, 14,000 IUs of D3. I had to check it out. I definitely had to check it out before this podcast here tonight. He's not wrong, but it is more efficient and much better for us as our endurance athletes if you do it daily, as with most, right? So it's not in a store releasing a whole bunch. Vitamin D excess does pass through urine. So if the body thinks that you have too much, it will pass it through the urine, and maybe you won't actually keep those stores in there. So while not necessarily wrong, it's better to do it. Again, you're going to pay for the supplement, the vitamin. Might as well take it the most effective, efficient way, and that would be do your dosage daily. So.
A couple things too, just to be, give you the numbers. If this, maybe you haven't caught on the fact that we want you taking vitamin D. So it affects bone strength. Fun fact about me is when I was in college, I was in my exercise science major, and one of the things that we got to do was do a DEXA scan. So I don't know if you've ever done that. It's like the gold standard for bone density, fat. Like you can check your fat. And I was like 22, like cheerleader, full athlete. This was back, this is going to age myself a little bit, but do you guys remember the Got Milk ads? Like, I ate my cereal, drank a gallon of milk every week. Like I was like, I'm going to have the best bone density in the class. And I came out osteopenia, which was borderline osteoporosis at 22 years old. Here I am studying to become a personal trainer, but I was a cardio junkie. I taught kickboxing. I was running all the time, probably not eating enough. And, that's another day. But bone strength, okay? If that alone is something you're jumping on, take some vitamin D. Muscle function, immune health, okay? There's some crazy flu virus going around the world right now. For the sake of staying healthy, your immune health. Inflammation control, okay? Inflammation, I feel like, is all over the news right now. So if we can help reduce inflammation, whether it's post-exercise, stress, all the things, so much things can come from reduced inflammation. And injury risk. So if you are somebody who is prone to injuries, stress fractures, okay, take your vitamin D. Hopefully that kind of okay, I'm going to do it. We're shoving this down your throat. Okay. And then lastly, why, again, we're pushing this for our endurance athletes. It's very common to have low vitamin D if you train early or late indoors, if you live at higher altitudes, if you train through the fall and winter, if you use sunscreen consistently, or if you have darker skin pigmentation. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Did we shove it down the throat enough? I think we got it?
I think we're pretty close. Yeah. And then you don't believe us, go ask any of the nutritionists out there, and they will probably tell you. I know I was talking with Elizabeth once, and about the what her thoughts on some of these supplements and whatnot, and she that's absolutely on her mandatory list for any athletes, right? As I'm sure it is for you, Anne, when you're working as a nutritionist with any athletes. So and it's such a free, it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what it is like in the States to buy it, but to go into Costco and get 2 bottles, man, I can't even buy a soda pop for that price. So it's just so cheap, and it's just a nice, easy, free, couple it with some box jumps, some box drops, right? Some plyometrics to build that bone density up, and you have that vitamin D in there. It's just going to just work wonders. Absolutely.
We should do that one next episode 3. We should talk about bone health, stress fractures. I think strength training. That'll be a good one. Stay tuned. No.
Stay tuned. Yeah. Get those ideas in. We got and anything else to add to the vitamin D?
No, I'm glad Alicia brought that up about the bone health, because that was also something that I wrote down some notes while it popped into my head about osteoporosis, fractures, especially as we get older, which is my athletes. So as we get older, that bone health and that bone, um, maintaining what we've got now while we're if the best that we can, because we're losing it so fast. But no, I'm glad you brought it up. Good point.
Yeah, I mean, because we're not going to stop it. I mean, anybody who's
Right.
out there thinking that whatever we're telling you is going to stop things like osteoporosis or anything like that is like, no, right? We can't change physiology. It's just the joys of getting older, if you want to call it. But these are going to be things that are going to slow it down significantly and help, even if you're not an endurance athlete and you're listening to us right now, some of the things that we're telling you will just help you with your daily activities of life, right? Going to get groceries, doing yard work, playing with kids or grandkids, all those different things. These all tie together. It's just we're on a different level, if you want to call it, for specific needs, maybe as endurance athletes, right? So, and the other thing that popped into my mind too, before we move on to the lovely cortisol, is the iron. I'm just going to touch back on too. If we have any youth athletes, female youth athletes out there, there's Reds. There's a whole bunch of other different things that again could be another 3 or 4 different episodes in the show, but having that iron deficiency, even, because you have the social media idea of what you're supposed to look at, or you're not eating properly or sleeping properly to go with that training, definitely don't want to get too deep into talking about body image. Again, that's another whole kind of can of worms, but it's very real though for some of those athletes, like you say, Alicia, you went anemic, right? And it's easy, I think, to get
Mhm.
there, but it might not be so easy to get out. I mean, tell me, was it?
Yeah, and I wish somebody had told me back when I was 16, like if you just ate some more meat or you know, got your iron under control, like who knows what kind of athlete I could have been, the should have, would have, could have. I feel like right now that is high carb fueling right now is so many people look back on, man, if I just fueled my workouts. Um, if I can give anybody any advice is instead of focusing on weight, a number on the scale, why don't we focus on performance? Okay.
Yes.
We will, whether it's I want to run a mile faster, I want to I want to decrease my 5K time, I want to finish my marathon in under 4 hours, whatever that performance metric is, chase that. Stop chasing the number on the scale. Okay.
Yeah, get rid of the scales.
Mhm.
Like the DEXA scan is the gold
Mhm.
standard. I just picked up a scale that it's 99 or 90% close to a DEXA scan, right? It's still an at home, but it's a lot more about figuring out bone density, because again, the scale can't tell you if you're healthy or not. My scale and my BMI and everything tells me that I'm unhealthy. And
Mm.
yeah, you go do a DEXA scan and it says, you're okay, you're average, you're kind of where you should be. So yeah, please, definitely, I'm going to echo that. Please just throw the numbers out on a scale. If you are feeling good, you look good, right? And that's all that really, really
Absolutely.
kind of, I think, matters at the end.
Hmm.
So I have a funny story about that, about looking good and feeling good. So I said in episode 1 that I've come out of retirement for this half marathon weekend training. So to me, like I'm running at honestly like the heaviest weight I've ever run at, to be totally transparent. Came out of this retirement like working from a hole that I've never been in before. So it's been a lot. I've had to pivot a lot. Anyway, I'm running in the mornings before work. And almost every morning, there's another lady in the neighborhood that's also on her walking journey. And we've developed this routine. We always like, hi, how are you? Good morning. The weather's great, whatever it takes. So a couple times she's my biggest cheerleader. She's out there. She's like, you're doing great, honey. Good job. And she's always given me kudos. So last week, I was feeling pretty good. I mean, it's it's been rough, but I was feeling pretty good, and she was cheering me on as I came across the sidewalk, and she's like, "Good job, you're doing so great." Thank you. And then kept going. And then she stops and she turns and she yells across the street, "And I can tell you're losing weight."
Aw.
I was like, "I love you. Thank you so much." But I was dying because she just billowed it across the neighborhood. But she saw it and she's like, I appreciated that. And it's something that I don't see it, but she has seen me out there every day and she's like, she sees it. So yeah, if you don't see it, the neighbors who are walking probably are. So yeah, I thought that was very cute that she was my big cheerleader out there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do
We're
we want
living
to?
vicariously through you, Anne, because I currently don't have anything on the training plan. JW, do you have anything on the training plan?
No, nothing. Nothing. Just coaching Jess and Runa through that Advent run streak, and then right after that, in the new year, they get to start their 2026 training
Nice.
And
for
do you
their
have
ultras.
any dying questions on your training plan that you're wanting to get off your chest?
On
Say
my
again, sorry?
training plan?
Tell us about your training plan. Tell us more about this race
So
you're doing. This is cool, you
I
guys. Check this
y-
out.
yeah, I don't know if I don't know where I've talked about this. I don't know if it was just you guys before we started recording or what, but I'm actually doing something a lot different this time. Instead of the normal 7-day microcycle in your typical training plan, right? Your long runs are on Saturdays. You've got maybe 1 or 2 rest days in the week. I'm actually on a 9-day microcycle. So instead of cramming all of the mileage into 7 days, we're spreading it out over 9 days. So what it looks like is there's a rest day followed by an easy day, which can be a cross training day. Definitely zone 2, maybe an RPE of 4 at the most, followed by a bigger work day, like some threshold work. If I lived in a place with some hills, maybe some hill work, some just picking up the pace, working on getting that solid foundation. And then that big run can also be like the longer endurance run on the weekends or wherever it falls. Right now, I've been lucky that it's falling typically either Friday, Saturday, so that I can fit it in. I don't have time before work to do a 2-hour run. So yeah, it's been great. I really do. I love it. I ran, what was this weekend? An hour 40, I think, on Saturday. I came home, got something to eat right away, sat in the Normatec, and then we had plans for the afternoon and evening. And I'll tell you, like, got up the next day and I felt like I did not run at all. I wasn't sore. I really wasn't tired. It's just really been a big game changer. So ultimate goal, we only have 5 weeks left in the training plan. So we're doing the Key West, it's called the Big Pecker Challenge. What that is a 5K and a 10K on Saturday, followed by a half marathon on Sunday morning in Key West, Florida. So I have gotten to the mindset that I'm definitely not there for a PR on anything. I'm there for the experience. I'm there for the views. I'm there just to probably get my money's worth out of that race course. But my expectation, I really don't have any. I'm just going to go enjoy it and just know that this body who has not run in several years, probably a good 3-4 years, that I'm just going to be out there doing it. And why not? Having a good time.
Isn't that an awesome
That's
feeling, though, to
amazing.
be training and knowing that it's really all about just how I want to feel out there?
Yeah.
And
But
not,
it's still a scary goal. Like you
it is,
are
yeah.
doing the training, right? So this race, this is how I think of anything. Whether I'm picking a race or I'll joke that I have an imaginary race, but I feel like I'm constantly on a training, whether I'm like in a training to live, training to get faster, training to maintain, training to build base. I think when we switch to having, I'm just working out, I'm just exercising, to I'm training, we're getting that progressive overload, having that long run, that hard run, and those recovery runs, those key workouts. And it seems to be working. Keep it up, dude. I'm so
Yeah.
Yeah.
excited for you and proud of you.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be different. It's going to be a challenge, and I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The end
Yeah.
result really is like the finish line's the same for all of us, right? It doesn't matter how fast you get there. It doesn't matter. Like my medal's going to be the same. My pizza might be a little bit colder. I mean, at the finish, but honestly, like I don't care. I'm out there having a good time and
Yeah.
with some friends, and it'll be a good time. Yeah.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. Very cool.
That you said you ran an hour and 40 minutes this past week?
Yeah.
What did you have for breakfast, or what did you eat before?
So
And how did you fuel that run?
So I did that morning. I did a piece of gluten-free bread, which I unfortunately have to go back on the gluten-free train, which is another whole nutrition
Ooh.
issue. So I am on a gluten-free bread and peanut butter on top. It's kind of been
Love
my
it.
go-to for quite a while. It's easy because I know when we go to a race, I can take it with me. I have actually, my husband, we actually traveled with a toaster to a race one time because I was on a waffle peanut butter kick. And I literally packed the toaster. I didn't fly with it, but we were driving. So, and then fueling wise, by none of this is sponsored, so I'm going to drop some names here, and none of it was sponsored by any of them, but Precision Fuel and Hydration.
Love them.
I've been using their stuff. Yeah. That's what I had I did a little experimenting with my fueling, which I should just stick with what I know instead of trying something new. I tried to fuel a little bit more frequently, and it was not the best choice that I've made. So I set my watch for every 20 minutes to fuel something, to take in a gel, or they have the little chews. That was too frequent for me. So I need to
Yeah.
bump it back to 30 minutes. It was, yeah. And then I do not carry plain water with me. I also had like their electrolyte blend in with my water. Probably, even though it was cool, probably could have still used some salt to supplement with that, because my stomach just kind of started feeling a little bit crappy towards the end. To me, that's a sign that I'm dehydrated, when my stomach just is feeling icky. The minute I get some sodium in, it's almost like that all gets pulled out of my stomach and back into where it needs to be. So I felt good at the end, though. Came home, drank a recovery shake, jumped into the shower, then jumped into the Normatec boots. And I was actually sitting on the couch, and my husband made breakfast and delivered it on the couch. So I take my recovery very seriously this go around too. There are a lot of things that are not negotiable. So that was kind of my plan. I do have to make a few changes for the next one, but we'll get there. We have time.
No
you-
stomach issues like me.
If you two
No.
are okay with it, we'll drop definitely, Alicia. We'll get your list, and we'll drop the the markers that we suggest that you should get tested in your blood work. But if you head over to, I'll do this at least anyway, so at least be one there. Head over to the Instagram page for the Endurance Balance, and I'll put up my favorite recipe for the recovery smoothie. And if you
Oh.
two would love to share yours as well, unless it's a family secret or something, that's okay. But sharing that, I think some of the listeners might enjoy.
I will jump. So one of my go-to breakfasts before I do a long run or a hard run is peanut butter toast, but I'll do sometimes with a banana and honey. Or I'll do oatmeal. But I wanted to ask you, JW, I went to Canada once, and they served us, I don't know what it was called, but they served us pizza, and it had maple syrup drizzled on it. Is this a normal thing in Canada?
No. If it is,
No.
yes, I'm not a good
It
Canadian.
had it had bacon, so I think it was Canadian bacon, so ham
Yeah.
and
Well, when we have
maple
a pizza
syrup.
called the Canadian, most places will
Mm,
have one called the Canadian, but all it is just
mm,
like every kind of meat you can
mm.
put on a pizza, pretty much.
See,
But
so
So
maple
the
syrup is good for fueling. I mean, I know some people that fuel with maple syrup.
well, sure, I think
mhm,
it's right along the lines with honey, right? If you can get some
Absolutely.
mhm,
natural honey is
mhm,
I use honey stingers, so I love the chews because of the
Mhm.
natural honey. There's Sun River honey. Sorry if I got your name wrong. It's local here in Alberta. The only drawback that I have with theirs is that it's liquid. So once the package is open, I have to eat the package all at once, or it's all
Uh,
sticky all over. And I'm very
mm,
OCD about that. So I like to be able to kind of eat when I want to. But
mhm.
yeah, the maple syrup and the honey are, I think they're great staples for, they are at least in endurance world. Like you hear a lot of people talk about, well, how do I
Mhm.
get that honey, that natural,
Yeah.
the simple sugar, if you want to call it, right? So, how can I?
P.S. I have a great recipe smoothie I've been addicted to. But I'm gonna make it. You gotta go to
Yes,
the
yeah, you
Instagram
got
for
to
that
go to
one.
the
It's secret.
Instagram page, and
It's
the
so good,
links
you guys.
the links will all be in the show notes if they're not already. Coming up on time, which is okay. That's just how we roll. We're all nice and relaxed here. Any thoughts on cortisol? In case anybody, because we said we were going to talk about cortisol, but in case anybody's like, okay, I've been waiting for this. I listened to everything else, but all I wanted to hear was cortisol. What have you got to say? I mean, really, what I've got to say about it is, I think it gets a bad rap, right? Like everybody's just like, oh, cortisol's
Mhm.
bad. It stresses you out. It's a stress release. It's this, it's that. Um, it's like a lot of things. I personally think it's like a lot of things where you have too much, it's not good. Do we need
Mhm.
cortisol? Yes, right? So we need that.
Mhm.
We need that. It's a catabolic hormone, and we need that hormone release basically to wake you up in the morning, right? And so when you're coming out of that circadian rhythm, we talked a little bit about that last week, I think. But you're going to need the cortisol to wake you up. You need it in certain situations. So if the adrenaline and the fight or flight kind of responses start kicking in, you're going to need cortisol there. But I think
Mhm.
what I see a lot, and I see it a lot in athletes, and I see it a lot just all around me, is that for whatever reasons, and I'm sure they're legitimate to the people, but everybody just seems really stressed all the
Mhm.
time. And so therefore we're kind of really always in a cortisol state, if you want to call it, right? Like it never has a time to shunt away and to dissolve and like not, it's always present, it feels like. And, we're going to have it with our training stress. We're going to have it with work stress, and we're going to have it with life stress. Um, we need it for our hard runs, right? We need that cortisol release when we're out there doing those, zone 4 runs, right? We're hitting that VO2 max, even, our ventilatory threshold 2s runs and everything else. We're going to need it. But what do you do to balance it? What would you suggest? What do you do personally, even maybe to help or tell your athletes? How do you balance that cortisol now? Again, like going back to, diet. People are stressing about diet. They're stressing about the numbers, the calories, the numbers on the scale, like everything. So what do you do, Alicia?
Okay, I'll take it. Yeah. So just like JW said, it, our body doesn't quite say, oh, our cortisol, like stress is stress, whether it physical stress, whether it mental stress, whether it be. So when we stress our body, we need to then relax our body. Okay. So hard days hard, easy days easy when it comes to training. Okay. Same thing I said. If you're just doing hard, 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 and you're never doing easy, if you're never absorbing the fitness, you're just breaking your muscles down. Like your fitness isn't going to get better. You're just going to be fatigued, tired, and probably hate training because you never feel good. So, one little sign. I've been working with a fairly newer athlete who's training for a half, and she is all on the Z2 training bandwagon. She's like, I feel so good. I've never enjoyed running so much. And she's going harder on her hard days. So I'm kind of going on a tangent with cortisol. But again, you can test it, ask for it in your blood work. There is a thing though, quote me if I'm wrong, in the morning, your cortisol naturally rises. So just be mindful when you test it. If your blood work is at night, or I guess you would never get your blood work tested at night, but if it's in the middle of the day versus in the morning, that could change. It will change. Your cortisol kind of goes like this.
I definitely agree with that one. Yeah, it's just like I said, cortisol is kind of what helps wake us up in the morning, right? So that has to increase that level to get us out of sleep. And then throughout the normal course of the day, it should just dissipate. So
to jump on the carb bandwagon again, I think carbohydrates get such a negative connotation, but carbohydrates reduce our cortisol response to training. So just like it helps us recover, it helps us make us feel good, avoid fasted runs. Again, I will never encourage an athlete to do a fasted run. That protein will help blunt the cortisol levels, but try not to. This is something that I've been working on really hard, is I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning. So, and it is truly just a cup, not a pot of coffee.
Is that new for you? Are you a coffee?
And it's funny because I could have a cup of coffee and go to bed. Like it literally, I really just truly enjoy a cup of coffee. But I do know when I get rid of coffee completely, or I go a day without it, I get that massive headache. So I know that to me is like a red flag that I'm probably addicted. Who knows? But I'm totally okay with just I just enjoy 1 cup of coffee. That's my just my personal.
I'm about a 3
but
pod.
I can't give it up completely. I just love it too much, even if it's decaffeinated.
Well, and it's interesting because you say you can have it before bed, and you say you're feeling like you're having a good sleep. I'll be the devil's advocate on this one and say, if you don't have it before bed, how much better will your sleep be? Simply in the sense that a lot of us don't know or have forgotten, caffeine has about an 8 to 9 hour half-life. So you can expect 8 to 9 hours before it clears the system. And it just elevates. It does, caffeine is a secret weapon on the endurance runs. It is. Like we plan it. It's put into strategy plans and everything else when we can use caffeine. But you think about it, if I'm using it to help me perform better, it can't be helping me to perform sleep. kind of thing, right? So just keep that in mind. Anne?
No, so that's a very good point. One thing that I do whenever I'm when I'm racing is more for half Ironman, things like that. I might actually do this for Key West. I don't know yet. But I do not take any caffeine in for a couple of days before. Do I get the headache? Absolutely. I know it's part of it. Usually for me, it's just one day where I have the headache, but 2 or 3 days before, I will not drink any coffee in the morning. No, I don't do sodas anyway, but like an iced tea, completely avoid it. That way on race day, I really feel the benefits of the caffeine gel. I feel the benefits of more so half Ironman, where I will, if you start the saying is, if you start taking in the caffeine, the Coke at mile like 6, 7, whatever it is, once you start, you can't stop. So if you have it at mile 6, 7, 8, maybe on the run, then I really feel that benefit to push through to the finish line. So yes, huge advantage. You can fit it into the strategy for a race. But it's not something that I typically cut out unless I'm racing.
Let's do let's include the caffeine. Let's touch on this one more, but take a note. I'll take a note. Let's get that into like race prep. So,
Mhm.
because I'm
Hmm.
sure athletes have a lot of questions about, how do I plan my nutrition? How do I plan my hydration and everything?
Mhm. Yeah.
And I think definitely like the caffeine and stuff can fit in that very, very well. Um,
Yeah. I have one more
yeah,
hook. Maybe we touch on this again next week. Um, we can like circadian rhythm. I think we briefly talked about it, but timing of our day. So when we work out, if optimally our bodies are best to work with our cortisol rising, if our cortisol goes up in the morning
mhm.
and kind of peaks and then starts to it's its lowest at night. But what about the people who train at night? That's all they can train. So is there um workouts suboptimal? Are they still getting a good workout if they're training at night when their cortisol levels are their lowest?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I do have some thoughts, but I think I'll save them for like maybe we'll pick that one up next week and kind of get into
Hmm.
that one. Um, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I think
Love it.
that's a great one. Um, to tie this off early, I think blood work. Alicia will give us her list, and then if you have one, or we can compare notes and add and whatnot. If one list doesn't have anything in it, and I have a list as well. What markers do you want to get tested for blood work, right? And so, really, at the end of at the the end of the day, I say minimum once a year, right? Tell me if you have something else in mind, but once a year, I think at least you should be getting blood work done. And for myself personally, with my family physician, like this last visit, I went in October, just for my birthday. I kind of just, it's easy to remember. Go get a physical done once a year. Go to get it done on your birthday. Get the blood work done, all that stuff. And it's just nice because then it leads into the base season. I also think getting blood work, if you're only going to do it once a year, do it in the base season, not when you're in the thick of training, because that'll be a whole bunch of other markers and levels that might not be more just on base health. So I think get them done, and then if you get it twice, cool. Get one done in the peak training and get one done in the base, but get it done now. And for my family physician, it's very hard. It was just like, here's a list. How much of that can you test? Well, why do you want this? Why do you want that? Oh, don't worry about that. Testosterone. Are you having issues? No. Well, why do you want it tested? And some of these things, and it's just like, well, first of all, for me, some of it is I want to know before it becomes an issue. Are the levels, so I may be feeling fine. We talked about this with ferritin and hemoglobin and everything else earlier, is that what you don't know. And if I don't know those levels are low, and then it might answer questions to other things. So you may have to really kind of push your family physician. I'm not sure what it's like in the States or the part of the world that our listeners are in. Our it's not a bad system to get our blood work here done. He ended up, in his defense, ended up doing most of them. And he just said some of them they can't do. And it's just like, well, they can't do, or just no checkbox on the sheet. Really, at the end of the day, is what it was. And then I ended up finding just a private lab, right? To say that the ones that I couldn't get done, it was $25, get all that you want tested or something. And I'm like, geez, I might just skip the family doctor and the arguments and just say, here's $25, take my blood and give me all the results. And what I find too with my family physician is they're looking for something that says warning, or the red box or the red lettering on those test results, right? Like I've already looked at all my test results I had in October. And of course, I got a phone call from the doctor saying, hey, we got to come talk about this, that, or whatever on your thing. And I already know about it. It's all good, right? Like it's good. I'll talk to my dietitian and we'll figure out how to fix that and this. And I also had blood work done just after Halloween. So I'm eating the kids' candy is really what I'm doing. So of course the numbers are going to be off, but I think it's really, really important to minimum once a year get that blood work done. It can tell you so many things about what's going on inside. There are so many companies and other apps out there. I mean, if you really want to get deep into it and you've got deep pockets, you know, uh, those other programs or platforms that can take your blood work and, tell you a whole bunch more when it comes to endurance athletes is worth it. If you've got, I'm more of the, I just need to go off of what my family doctor can give me and some of those blood work. Um, any final thoughts on getting blood work drawn?
I think we have driven this one home.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. just to recap then, we've talked about getting the blood work done. We talked about the sunshine in the bottle. We've talked about iron. I think we all three could agree that for homework for our listeners, if you haven't done it within the last 6 to 10 months, maybe go get some blood work done. Now is the perfect time if you're in your off season, unless you're like Anne, where you can train all year. Right? Got the races happening all year. But it now, I think, is in this base season, or I guess a lot of people like to call it the off season. I call it the base season. Now is a really good time to go get that done. So I think that can be some homework for our athletes. You all agree?
Love it. I will give over in the show notes exactly what to ask for, and some just protocols to have the best blood work done possible, because you could do some bad things and it could offset your results. So we'll put that in the show notes. And,
yeah, exactly. Because we can't measure what we don't test. So you want to be able to measure all that. So I think we talked a little bit about fitting the training into the chaos.
Love it.
Right. So I love it. Another great, awesome episode. Please drop us some notes.
Episode
Let us
2.
know. Yeah. Let us know what you think, good or bad. We'd like to hear your thoughts. And I'm just going to say, keep training hard, and we'll see you next time, and see you in 2 weeks.
You're amazing.
That's a wrap for this week on the Endurance Balance. If you enjoyed the conversation, do us a huge favor. Hit that follow or subscribe button on your podcast app right now. It's the best way to support the show. And hey, we want to see your chaos. So come find us on Instagram at The Endurance Balance and drop us a DM. For Coach Alicia and Coach Ann, I'm Coach JW. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the trails.